Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Drink and Draw. We are here with our very special guest, Mr. Skottie Young.
Hello.
All the regular Yahoos that you know and love. Joe Quesada, Dave Johnson, Jeff Johnson, and the great, the wonderful Dan Panosian.
Did you add a T to my name, you son of a bitch?
Hi.
Richard. Yeah.
This is the first time Ben has introduced us as Yahoos, and first time he's actually introduced me first. So
yeah, no, I like that.
That means.
Well,
Yeah,
Let's keep that up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ben, check out your window. There might be a tornado coming.
Yeah,
it's here. It's waiting.
Yeah. So
Being
Ben has
very
survived
patient
a
tornado.
he survived a tornado last night, and there's another tornado warning in effect.
Later this evening, we're supposed to get more storms. Clear skies now. So, but it's just a matter of time, you know.
Jeff, can you make that a little louder?
can you hear that?
Yeah, good
Yeah,
God.
scratch that up. Scratch
Yeah.
that up a
Jesus.
little bit.
Yeah. So I guess my mic's working okay now, you pricks.
It's not working as
I
well
think
as
it's a little
Joe's
too
mic.
good.
Look at
Right.
Joe's mic.
Yes,
my
Joe's mic is impressive.
This is strictly to shame you, Jeff. Strictly.
It's working. It's
really
working well.
professional.
How are my levels, Dan? Is that better?
Yeah,
I didn't want to whip out the heavy artillery, but you know.
Oh God.
You guys are-
Oh,
See what that says?
says WFU, Jeff.
It's my new radio network. I bet you people are like tuning in right now, going, I'm regretting every minute of it.
Right.
So what is everybody drinking tonight?
Well, since I was unable to get to the store in time, I'm stuck with boring water.
So you didn't go out at all today.
I went to karate class. That's it.
Karate.
I'm with Jeff. I'm drinking dirty watercolor water that I was using last night. So.
Oh.
You could have lied and just said that was like a Moscow Mule, and whatever that thing is.
We definitely would
I
have
never
believed
lie
that.
on this broadcast. Fuck
No.
you. So
For the first time in my history of drink and draw, I'm actually drinking. Look at that.
Imbibing.
I've
Yay!
got the industrial Tito's.
Nice.
nice.
Ooh, I got a couple of those over here.
Little Tito. And
I got some La Croix, but I will add some, there we go. I'll add some,
Snap.
I'll add some mezcal. It sounds a lot like your pencil today, Jeff.
One of these days, Jeff is going to dial it in. It's either too little or too much.
Yeah.
That's my whole life, Dave. That's my marriage.
Joe, you got to tell me that it has to be the last time I saw a guitar up there. It was a red guitar.
Are we doing this again?
Yeah, we are, because I think you keep every week. It seems like you're switching.
That's
How many
the same
guitars do you
guitar.
have? You have a shitload of guitars, and that's not
Dave,
the same guitar.
Help me out here. You guys, it's the same guitar, guys. Come on,
It's
right?
the same guitar. It's the same Thor thing. It's all the same back there. I don't understand what the problem is.
No, he bust my
Dan,
chops.
come on.
I'm
You
proud
don't
about
understand.
it.
You don't understand the problem. The problem is Dan. That's the
That's right.
problem.
Oh,
Oh, wait,
Yeah,
speaking of Dan,
I've heard rumors of this. No,
Yeah.
Dan, it's the same damn guitar every damn week.
All
Dan,
right.
right before we went on, we were talking about you and Saran Wrap. I'd like to.
Okay, let's.
Oh yes.
I'd like to get.
No, because you know what? If we talk about that, somehow magically those pictures are going to resurface. So let's just not do that.
So let's
there are
talk
pictures?
about it.
Wait. we
No,
weren't
let's not talk
pictures.
about it. Let's
You
not
didn't know there
talk.
were pictures.
Yeah, listen, there probably isn't.
I think Dave holds the key to this story. Dave.
No, we don't need this
Yeah.
story. What we should talk about his drawing process. A lot of people tune in because they want to learn secrets of drawing and maybe how Skottie Young, maybe what type of ink he uses, a particular pencil.
I do
Because-
actually want to hear that.
Because
Well,
I
you know,
understand,
hey,
from what
Skottie,
I understand,
I
Skottie-
want to know from Skottie if he has any Saran Wrap pictures.
I have a whole album of pictures that I probably shouldn't let loose on this cast or live feed.
Skottie, have you ever noticed that? I mean, you have a lot of talent, but have you ever noticed that maybe it's the pencil choice that you've chosen at the art store that might be like at least 65% responsible for what you're able to do on paper?
I absolutely wish that was the case, and for a good portion of my life, I was on the Indiana Jones like hunt quest
Right.
for that.
The magic tool.
Yeah, there's some magic tool.
Yeah.
And what I've realized is the only magic tool is time.
And your
Are you sure?
imagination.
Are you
Your
sure?
imagination.
Are you sure the loudness of the pencil isn't?
Jesus Christ!
secret?
I am excited by Jeff's Apple mic that they figured out how to put on a pencil. It's a new technology that they were like, we really feel that artists need to be heard, not seen.
I'm like a child. I just want attention.
Either we can't hear you or we're hearing too much.
Is it so? How's my voice? Is the voice fine?
The voice is fine.
Finally, we can hear you, which is
I
nice.
can't hear him.
All right. I'm switching over to a pen.
Oh, no.
A quiet,
Okay.
a quiet pen.
I
How's
thought
that?
you were going to do your whole thing when you go, how does this sound? And it's just massive static.
I'm slowly learning. Let's ask Scottie more questions about his magic tool.
I'm gonna go get some.
Like this is getting triple X real fast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get some mezcal. Hold on.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
I'm jealous.
Good time for that.
Well, now that he's gone,
We can talk about those great photos.
I understand why he doesn't want those to become public knowledge.
But
Why is it?
that's not a good reason.
It's true.
I mean, you gotta give us a good reason.
I don't have
The
one,
fact that he
actually.
doesn't want it to be public knowledge is the perfect reason.
You're
that
right.
It should be.
That's
I don't remember seeing a gun to his head when I saw the photos.
Yeah, but he's wearing a ball gag, right?
Well, I mean, but that was by choice.
Well, he was wrapped in saran wrap.
Yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
Dan will do a lot of things in the name of art. We can all agree on that.
True.
By the way, how does saran wrap stick to him when he's wearing all that baby oil?
Baby oil. Yeah, baby oil, Coke and baby oil.
Oh my god!
Is this what I've come back to?
Yeah. Yeah.
All about it's the Dan show tonight.
Listen, Dan is drinking mezcal, probably the best mezcal on the planet.
So what you're saying is later you will be wearing saran wrap.
Probably. I have a little bit of a cold and mezcal, and so I took some cold medication. So this mixed with the mezcal is probably perfect for this sort of broadcast.
Right.
Excellent.
So
All right, I'm gonna make Jeff really happy right now. Hey, Scottie, how did you start your career?
Thanks.
How did I start my career?
Oh yeah.
Oh wait,
That's what everybody wants to know.
Jeff didn't hand out questions today.
I
Yeah,
know.
Jeff, where's your fucking the whole thing you do?
Listen, I'm pretty sure we'll be fine without them this one time.
Scottie, before you answer the question, just to fill people in, what happens? Jeff is the only one who's remotely organized on this stream. So before Dan sends out the link, Jeff sends out questions for the guests, which we eventually just ignore the minute the broadcast starts.
100%. No, I don't even know if anyone's ever read them. I didn't see them, and then they put.
But Jeff does like a minute by minute. Then you say this. I'd like it if someone mentioned this at one point.
Yeah. It's really nice of him to do that, but we don't care.
Not at all. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm afraid, Scottie, I was a little too busy to do that today. So we're going to
Well, hey, listen, I really appreciate you going out of your way to welcome me to the show and get prepared for my coming on. It makes me feel good.
I apologize in advance for not doing my part.
So far, has this been like one of the highlights of your week?
Yeah. No, my son's finished school. That was definitely low on the list.
Okay, that's probably it.
Had a couple good calls with some interesting things for my creator and projects. That was definitely low on the list.
Let's skip that.
That's low on the list. We're gonna jump right to Jeff ignoring the fact that I was coming on tonight and not preparing.
I know. I'm so sorry.
This is bullshit.
So, Scottie, tell us about how you got started. I'll do this since Jeff is just.
How did I get started? It's
Thank you, Joe.
Well, I moved to Chicago with my wife. I mean, at the time she was not my wife, but we've been together for 6 trillion years.
Is that to join Second City?
Yeah, we were going to try to be on Saturday Night Live. It was between Improv Olympic and Second City. So we moved to Chicago. I was actually more into music at the time, and so was my wife. She's a singer-songwriter, and I did a lot of kind of beat making and DJing and things like that. And but I also drew all that time, but I just didn't quite understand. This was, we're all in that age bracket where we were kind of pre-internet people, right? So it's like we were out like in the woods trying to figure out how to figure out a life in this weird world. But luckily, Chicago at that time, there was really just about two real major conventions at that time, which were San Diego and Chicago, the Chicago Comic-Con, which eventually became Wizard World. And I went out there right when we moved. I met a self-publisher in Chicago who had seen my work and was like, "Oh, we should do like a little indie book together." And I thought, "Oh, that's cool." I didn't expect to ever make any money. And at that, so he was like, "Hey, we're getting ready to set up at Wizard World Chicago, and we have our own table in Artist Alley." And I was like, "Whoa, that's really fucking cool." Like, I never thought I'd be able to sit at the table. So I brought my portfolio out there, which, you know, had 0 comic pages in it. It just had like big graffiti pieces and skate. You know, I was a skater, and there was a lot of like skate art and things like that. And
You were like an extra large Jim of Food, basically.
Yeah, Jim and I are very close in age, and we come from a very similar background. He was a little bit more of the music culture. I was a little bit more of the skateboard culture, but we had a lot of crossover. And so that was a lot of my artwork back then. And I had a giant portfolio. It was hilarious, right? It was one of those I didn't go to art school, but it was one of those giant art school portfolios because I didn't understand how anything was made in comics. And I smoked back then, and I went out to smoke, and I came back, and my friend who had the table was like, "Hey, somebody from Image Comics left a card." And I was like, "What?" You know, and I was so young at that. I think I was 21 at that point. So I was like, hearing that somebody's from Image Comics, I instantly thought like, well, I'm super going to be a millionaire tomorrow. That's how my kid brain worked. Right. And the person who left the card was CB Sobolski.
Wow.
CB had just left CPM Manga, or what was it? What was he at, Joe? Something Central.
Oh,
whatever.
Yeah. Damn, what was it called?
Yeah, it was a company in Japan that CB worked for. He had just come back over, and this was the era of Image, and I'm sure everybody remembers this, where it was like everybody had their own studio era, right? So there was Dreamwave, and Devil's Due had just started, and it was like Image was no longer kind of the main central thing. It was like a lot of little companies within Image, and CB was starting one as well called Fanboy Inc. or
Fanboy Entertainment or something.
Fanboy Entertainment or Inc. One of those two. Yeah. And he did Takeshi Miyazawa had a book with him, and then he was bringing over people like Kiya Asamiya and some other Japanese manga people. But he's looking for some local people to start kind of adding to his thing, and he left a card for me. And over the course of that year, we became friends, and you know, we cooked a couple projects up together. And at the same time, he had started getting involved with Marvel for the Mangaverse stuff. And CB kind of became known for his Rolodex back when people still knew what a Rolodex was, of younger artists and Japanese artists and a lot of things like that. So CB was out one night with Mike Martz, who at the time, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike Martz headed up the X office at that time, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so Mike Martz was the head of the X office, and somebody who I didn't know at the time, but we've since become really close friends, was this Carl Kerschel, was drawing an Iceman miniseries and couldn't do one of the issues. So it was known that CB knew a lot of artists, and so one night, I think while everybody was out drinking, Mike had asked CB if he knew anybody that could jump in really quick and do a fill-in issue for an Iceman miniseries. So CB suggested me. He called me. He was like, "Hey, somebody named Mike Martz is going to call you from Marvel. Act surprised." I was like, "Well, I'm pretty sure I won't have to act surprised. I'm 22 and I'm lighting my cigarette butt off the stove right now." You know what I mean? I'm not really rolling in it at the time, so I think I'll be pretty good to go. And so Mike Martz called and it was like, "Hey, do you think you could do this comic book issue?" And, you know, it's like, it was under 4 weeks maybe. And I was like, "Of course." Now, the kicker to that was, I had never drawn a full comic book, ever. I think maybe at the time I might've done maybe 4 or 5 sample pages, which we all know at that time, you know, a sample page, you know, you probably spent 4 weeks on the one page.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
So it was a complete fake it till you make it scenario for me, which was, you know, I mean, maybe my whole career has been that. I've always slightly been a little better in the room than I've been with the pencil. So I always figure that at some point my pencil will catch up to my mouth. And that's pretty much what happened there. Mike called me and he asked me to do Iceman. We did it. We got it done. And in the next 6 months, CB got hired on as an editor. CB has said this. Joe could probably back this up. So I'm not speaking out of school. CB was not a great editor at the beginning because he was just like, he just wanted us all to be really happy. So he's like, he really let us all be late all the time. Which was hilarious now because now he's like super the opposite. But yeah, it was about 6 months later, CB got hired on as an editor, and there was a Spider-Man project on deck that they hired me for. I did a Spider-Man miniseries, and then Human Torch.
That's pretty cool because I remember that Spider-Man miniseries, and that's when I first noticed your work.
That was my very first project. Yeah.
Wow.
My very first full project
because it was really professional.
I'm gonna big up Joe on this one. My next project was they actually took me off that one issue early to do Human Torch because they were starting a new initiative for kind of some younger characters and younger readers, and I got on the Human Torch, and I always was so excited because in the kind of the write up, you know, this is like my second year in comics, and Joe called me a future superstar. And I was
nice.
I don't necessarily know that I had ever met Joe at the time, but I was like,
Scottie,
yes.
Scottie, be honest.
Joe, just shut your fucking mouth. Don't say anything. Just let me live in this glory.
Let me live in the glory.
I know Joe was going to throw me into the bus. I cannot handle it, Joe.
It turns out it was another artist named Scottie Jung. Scottie Jung, who disappeared after that.
Yachty Sum. He was like, fuck, if this dyslexia was not such a problem for me, I would have really picked up the right artist. So yeah, that's pretty much how it went. And then, since then, I've always said it's the metaphor for me. I've heard the metaphor of like breaking into comics was like, breaking out of prison. Like once you find one way, you have to find it. Everybody else has to find another way. But I always edited that metaphor and said that breaking into comics is more like breaking out of prison and staying out of prison. Like it's actually probably pretty easy to get over the fence. What's harder is to figure out how to live a life once you're outside the fence. And I figured out that's kind of what comic books were for me. Is like once you got in, you're like, oh, this is crazy, but how do I stay in? So it was a weird way in, and then it's just been kind of faking my way through the whole situation.
Nice. Well, what book are you working on now? You have your own book. It's based on Wizard of Oz, right?
Well, no. So I've done Wizard of Oz. I did that at Marvel.
Jeff, that was like 4 years ago, Jeff.
Come on, Jeff.
Listen, like I said, I didn't do the research.
Did you not see the notes, Jeff? Jesus.
No, listen, I'm just going on my memory of his stuff.
No, yeah, we did. In 2008, we launched, Eric Schanauer and I. Eric was adapting, I was drawing. We did 6 volumes of L. Frank Baum's Oz novels. We adapted into
Is that enough for you, Jeff?
That was it. Perfect. Thanks.
I mean, 6. How many more do you want?
Just 6. I only worked on it for 5.5 years. No big deal. Like a lot of things happened in that period of time. My whole life happened in that time.
Yeah.
Now we did Oz. Right now I have I just wrapped up my Deadpool run. I did about 17 issue run of Deadpool with Nick Klein and Scott Hepburn on art. I was writing that.
Jeff, did you know that? Did you know he did Deadpool, Jeff?
No, I didn't know that at all.
Interesting.
Damn it, Jeff. Fuck.
You ruined this whole thing, Jeff.
I'm out of touch, guys.
Clearly.
Bullshit. I felt pretty special before I came on here.
By the way,
Yes, I knew.
By the way, Scott, you ever sell any of that Wizard of Oz art?
I think you may have been one of the first people to buy some of the original art back then.
I mean, I got like a whole book or something.
I feel like you have one whole issue. I think you did buy one whole issue.
And by the way, thanks for the freaking discount after I called you a
He's like, I'm going to make my money somehow.
Yeah, man.
Why do you think I said those things?
He's like, one day I'm going to get this art.
The next day I asked you for the page.
Yep.
All right, Jeff, I'm taking down my sign.
I love it. Leave it up there. It's
It's
I see the
crappy,
mic.
It's fallen. Yeah.
It's a very impressive mic.
Look at this. Look at this
A lot of
thing.
people
Oh,
have said that.
God.
Look at this thing.
I'll admit it. I'm
Sounds
jealous.
great.
Oh,
Wow, it did sound like
I'm
butter.
living in shame right now.
It's understandable, Jeff. It's understandable.
Makes so much sense.
So I'll have to get one of those mics. Is that what you're saying?
You can't afford this mic, Jeff.
I'm sure I can't.
Be advised.
That's the uber nice mic.
Yeah.
I like that Thanos you're working on, Jeff.
That's the
Oh,
chief
thanks.
creative officer mic. You get those from Marvel when
Yeah.
It's money in the bank.
So Ben, we got any questions?
What?
Nothing
We're just
yet.
getting started.
Wake up, Ben. Ben, wake up.
I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
Stop
Well, lots of
checking.
comments on Jeff's shitty mic, but that's it.
You sound great.
You sound like a warrior.
So like $10, Ben.
I feel like 9. So
Sound like a
good. It feels about like Saturday night of San Diego right now. It's about how tired I am.
Ouch.
So, yeah.
Speaking of Saturday night in San Diego, I think next week we're gonna have to drink heavily, guys, very heavily, if our possible guest shows up.
Oh God. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have? I'm so out of the loop. Are you guys gonna tell me about this off air? Or I just have to find out.
I'll leave it up to Dan if Dan wants to spoil it.
Oh, all right.
But
We'll put
we're
a-
focusing on. We got to focus on Scottie.
Do
Scottie.
you mind if we focus on Skottie, Jeff?
Yeah.
I
I'm gonna put a
love
quick
Scottie.
quick doodle
Jeff
up
is so
that I've been.
distracted.
Is that
Oh.
showing up for anybody?
That looks
Wow.
great. Badass.
Batman.
I'm just gonna do a bunch of doodles instead of doing one big masterpiece like you geniuses.
That's crazy.
Crazy, sexy, cool.
The crowd will love it.
This is a robot that I did a little bit earlier.
Oh, we were
Wow.
talking.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
You know, Jeff, take that.
That's impressive.
There's your research, Jeff.
Nice.
Yeah, research that, Jeff.
I'm gonna have to study that one.
Where's my
So, Scotty, who are some of your favorite artists? Who are the guys you started studying when you were younger?
Yes,
Oh, man.
Scotty.
I feel like there's an answer I'm supposed to give here. One of the, early when I started reading Mad Magazine long before I kind of knew what superhero comics were. So for me, the initial love of art came from like Jack Davis and Don Martin and Sergio Aragones and so all the, I think, genius cartoonists that filled the pages of Mad Magazine. That was kind of where I got my start in loving art. And it wasn't until I didn't really get into like comics proper, superhero comics, until junior high, or like right around 7th or 8th grade for me is when I kind of fell into that. And then around that time is when it was like mid high school, I think, when Chris Bichello did Generation X.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I absolutely fell in love with that. And I fell in love with his work. And I think I fell in love with the fact that he just constantly was changing. He was constantly changing his work over the years. Like he was never afraid to try, his work on Shade the Changing Man and his work on Death and Generation X. And then even Generation X, he had like 5 styles through the run. It kind of made sense to me because I couldn't find the way that I drew either. So it was kind of interesting to watch that happen. So I kind of fell in love with his work.
That's actually because he had 5 different, artists working under him from various countries, living in his basement, from what I understand.
I think there was one person that I soaked in a ton of work from, but I didn't really realize it until way later. But Sam Keith was a really, really big person for me. There was some guy that did like Batman got his back broke, and then there was some sort of comic series where there was some sort of like weird guy with like a big blade that came out of like a big gauntlet.
Asriel.
Yes, something Zariel or something. That guy was pretty good.
Not one of my favorites, but
I like that book.
You
Whatever
did to
happened
the
to
quiet
that guy?
taste.
Yeah.
That was Kevin Nolan, right? Kevin Nolan. did
Kevin Nolan, yeah.
Right.
Kevin killed it on that.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
God.
there was definitely a couple different stages that really stuck out to me growing up, and it was definitely Sam Keith on the Max, early, like that weird era of Keith Giffen where he would like put the pin down and not pick it up.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Like
doing
Trencher?
Trencher shit. That
Yeah.
Trencher shit still to this day is my I own like 5 Trencher pages. So yeah, that was a weird era. And then I all bullshit aside, Joe did Daredevil was a really big important time for me, reading comics and looking at art and studying art. So it kind of shifted. And then of course Joe Mad kind of came in there somewhere as well, and that was the big the Umberto, Joe Mad, Chris Pacello era was really big for me.
So the Dave Johnson era really showed up.
Well, listen, I had Super Patriot. I wish I was trying to be cool and pretend that I didn't copy a lot of those Super Patriot drawings and act
Not as much as I did.
like it was and pretend that it was a character that I made up. I was like, instead of the American flag, I'll make it this flag.
Oh man, I hated that design. No offense to Eric Larson, but
No, you'll never take offense with the comment like that. So you don't have to worry.
I think I told him. He was like, I even begged him, can I redesign it? And he was like, nope. And I was like,
Weird, because usually Eric is pretty, he'd probably pretty malleable. Like they're gonna change it all up.
yeah, right. But hey, I got paid pretty good, so I couldn't.
It's all that matters in life, right, Dave?
Complain. Yep, it's all that matters. And then there was silence.
Well,
Still thinking about saran wrap. And
let's not think about saran wrap if we can help ourselves, ideally.
It's such a terrible tease to the audience. You guys can't just bring up a story like that and then not finish it. Really.
No, because then those pictures come out, sadly, and then my life is over.
Yeah, if anybody has these pictures,
They do.
The cat's already out of the bag. You telling the story is not. If they're going to release those pictures, they're going to do it right now.
No, not right now. Let's not talk about right now.
You telling that story is not going to make it any better or worse. So just tell the story. It'll be better for the fans.
Get out. I don't want to hear that. I got enough flack constantly. Sometimes we gotta save that for episode like 1 billion or something.
People hate you on social. Your social profile is crap. I mean,
I've noticed that.
You need to open up a little bit,
and then I can get some.
Show them who you really are.
That would definitely give them an inkling.
Yeah. So Dan, I talked to someone this weekend when I was in Michigan at the Motor City Con about your Facebook posts, specific, and I could not convince that person that you were lying. They believed all your posts, and they thought you just lived the most interesting life. And I tried to convince them that some of it might not be true, but they weren't having it.
But good. That means I'm doing my job properly.
Yeah, you've convinced them. Dan, that's an awesome looking Wolverine.
He's a samurai. I know you liked your samurais, Jeff. I did this for you.
I love it. Did you start with yellow?
Yeah, I said let me start with yellow for once.
Nice.
Because I know.
Impressive.
Thank you. Skottie actually wrote a story that I got to draw, a backup story that I penciled and inked, and it was the first thing I ever penciled and inked for Marvel. Before
was that really?
Yep, that was the first one.
No way.
It was a Juggernaut. It was a Juggernaut story.
The Juggernaut story.
Yeah, it was really cool. I
love Dan's work so much, but I didn't realize that. I don't know that I realized that at the time. I really was just like in love with your work and was got asked to write this short story for the. We're doing a lot. Like every time there was an event, we'd kind of do like an anthology, couple issues, and I think that's the one where they were like the big get was the X-Men were moving to San Francisco.
Was that it? I remember this was a Juggernaut at a truck stop.
Yeah, like a truck stop bar, right? Like a little saloon.
Yeah, so I was in heaven with that. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Roadhouse Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it really was Roadhouse Juggernaut. And I think my angle on that was literally like Really? Is the plot of this that we're moving to San Francisco?
Yeah, I don't remember that actual plot, but if you say so.
So, Scottie, you started out as a penciler. It seems like you're doing a lot more writing now. Do you like that better?
I don't know that it's a like one better or not. It's more just it's a new challenge. It's a new fun challenge. So, I've been doing monthly comics for the better part of 17, 18 years. So it was nice a couple years ago. I started writing and drawing books around, I do some short stories. And then in 2014, around the time that we finished the Oz books, I pitched Rocket Raccoon and Groot as a solo series to write and draw, and we launched that. And
what a disaster that was, right?
It didn't sell at all.
Nobody liked it.
Nobody liked it. So I wrote and drew that, and I really fell in love with just kind of the idea of doing everything. And so I did that for a while, and then at some point it occurred to me that I have all these ideas that I want to do, and some of these ideas aren't necessarily going to fit with my art style, and I kind of came to terms with that. So it's been fun to figure out what stories I want to draw, and then which stories that I'd like to just collaborate with other people on. And it's just a fun new challenge. Like at some point, your muscle memory just starts repeating, right? Like you wake up, you do a page, you do the thumbnail, you do the cover, and you kind of I found myself kind of feeling like I was repeating myself, and writing started to feel like I was scared a little bit again. Like maybe I'm not good at this, and like let me try to climb this new mountain and see what happens. So like I said, I don't know that it's a matter of which one I like better. It's a new thing to add to my plate and see if I can get better at it.
Do you change the way you write when you're writing for yourself, or when you say you're writing for Dan? Like you have a different approach?
For sure, and I've gotten better for that. At that over the years,
you dumb it down for Dan.
yeah.
It's
like Dan's way too good looking, so I need to do something to make him. I need to chop him down a little bit.
Yeah. Flattering.
Yeah.
Make him wear a saran wrap.
All right, let's move on from the saran wrap a little bit.
No, I find that to be a real strength for artists that have crossed over into writing, that we understand visual storytelling, not just how to do it, but I think that we have an innate ability to understand how each other does it differently.
Yeah.
So when I wrote for Scott Hepburn and Nick Klein on Deadpool, I understood how to write scripts specific to each one, because I was very familiar with both their art styles. You can instantly see like what they like to do, also where you can push them and kind of ask them to cross their line a little bit, but which strengths they're going to have and which strengths they're not. So I always found that to be a little bit of a strength of crossing over from the art side to the writing side.
Cool.
What is that scratching noise?
Oh, that's Jeff's pencil. As Scottie would point out, his
Apple
iMic.
His iMic.
Is this better? Is the pen quieter?
A little bit.
Wait,
I can hear you breathing.
I know.
I can hear like the sweat exiting from your pores.
It's like Jeff wants to start an ASMR broadcast now.
That'd be great. I'd tune in.
Yeah, would you?
I would. Yeah, I probably would.
Not for long though.
Yeah.
Not for you, Ben.
No.
You're pretty bored pretty fast.
I'd give it the courtesy watch and hang up. Yeah. Like most of our viewers.
Yeah, they just hit click. So is that Thanos, Jeff?
Yeah.
Is that who that is? I can't tell.
It is. It's Thanos.
Oh.
Why is he angry?
Yeah.
He's always angry.
Is he always angry?
I think Scottie can get away with drawing him happy, but I don't think I can handle it. I don't know if I can reach that.
All right, I'm gonna draw Thanos after I draw this Joker.
Excellent.
Naked? You draw naked?
You want me to draw naked Thanos?
Oh God, I don't want to see that. That sounds horrible.
I want to see it.
You just reminded me of so many people I've met at cons over the years. Can you draw him naked?
Can you draw him naked? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
So what's the weirdest thing? Like, what's the weirdest one? The weirdest con sketch you've had to do, Skottie?
Oh man. Well, you know what? I've always just said no to them. No is my favorite fucking answer to almost everything.
Right.
Like I learned that really, really early on was just it's super okay just to say no. But there was definitely some monkey situations, monkeys and toasters.
What?
I feel like somebody else here would have probably had that as a thing as well. But there was one time somebody was like, it was long enough ago, I can't remember the details, but it was like, I was like, no, that's going to be a hard pass. Like, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Monkeys and toasters.
I was for the longest time. I mean, I love doing the show in Charlotte,
Heroes Con, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
great show.
And Heroes Con for the longest time had the most bizarre, and over-sexualized requests from fans. You know,
you're not talking about Scuba Guy, are you?
Scuba Guy's one of them. Scuba Guy's one. You want to explain Scuba Guy?
Yeah,
we talked about Scuba Guy already. I think.
By the way, Skottie, I'm like you. I've always said no to anything that's like remotely naked, pornographic. I've always been like no. But I have a great story from Charlotte. But good, Dave. Talk about Scuba Guy because I learned about Scuba Guy the same time about the story that I'm going to tell you guys. But
no, it was 1 year. Well, Scuba Guy used to come up to all of us and ask for Batgirl and scuba gear in bondage and underwater. And 1 year they printed a letter of his in Batman Adventures, the old comic book, and about a month before Heroes Con. And the editor, Scott Peterson, was going to be at the show. So we told Scott about it when he got there. And we said, you got to look out for this guy. And sure enough, the next day we ran into Scott and he goes, oh my God, I met Scuba Guy. And we're like, really, what happened? And Scuba Guy, well, you got to understand, Scuba Guy sounded like Mr. Haney from Green Acres. He'd be like, hello, I'm Scuba Guy. And
wait a minute, did he refer to himself as Scuba Guy?
Oh, no, obviously not. But it's just part of the story. And so he walked up to the editor and he introduced himself as the guy who wrote the letter. And he said, so when do I start? And Scott was like, start what? And he goes, start writing the story. And he goes, what story? And he goes, well, you printed my letter. And he goes, yeah, we print letters all the time. And he goes, you mean I'm not hired? And Scott was like, no. And Scuba Guy lowers his head and then he lifts it back up and he goes, but I quit my job.
Oh my God.
Wow.
But from what I understood, he worked at a comic book shop, and for the longest time, I just imagined him running in there just going, suck it, motherfuckers, I'm working for DC Comics. I miss Scuba Guy. Scuba Guy was great.
all right,
yeah, Joe, tell us your Scuba Guy story.
Dave, I think we were at the same. Well, we were. You're the one who whispered in my ear, "Watch out for Scuba Guy." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Dave is a good friend.
You'll know him when he asks you for a sketch, and so that's how I learned about Scuba Guy. But again, at that show, it was just crazy requests and a lot of topless requests, right? So
well, yeah, it's such an art driven show, right? So it's like it's definitely the sketch collectors.
But I had, and again, this is going back. This is I think around the time of Azrael, maybe just before Azrael, and a guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, can you do a sketch of Mary Jane?" I'm like, "Sure." He said, "Topless." I'm like, "No." Oh, come on. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I won't. So he goes to the artist next to me. I'm not going to mention names.
Dan.
He goes to there were two artists sitting next to me, and both of them were longtime Marvel guys, great guys, and very, very funny, right? So he goes to the artist next to me. No, I'm sorry. So one of them is sitting next to me, and the other one's to the right of him. The one to the right of him goes up to go to the bathroom. So this guy, I say no to this guy, so he goes to the artist.
That was me, by the way.
And he says, "Can you draw Mary Jane topless?" He's like, sure, what the hell, right? And he upcharges him, so he starts drawing Mary Jane. And in the middle of drawing, the other artist comes back, and he's a little bit of an older artist compared to the guy who was drawing, and he stops in his tracks. And he's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" He's like, I'm drawing Mary Jane topless. He's like, "Do you know what John Romita? He'd be losing his mind right now." And this artist was white as a ghost. Like, what? He's like, "Yeah, because Mary Jane has those big silver dollar nipples, not the little ones."
Oh my God. Jesus.
I did a spit take. I was in the middle of taking a spit. I almost threw up. I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh,
It was that was a great line. I'll never forget
priorities.
that. Yeah. Get it right, dude. Get it right.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about reference.
Yeah.
I found.
Whoa.
Who's that?
Sorry, that's my son getting orange juice.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What do you have? Like mouse traps?
Yeah. He knows
Yeah,
he knows that I'm
now,
doing
kid.
something. So he's like, "Now's my time. I'm getting the OJ. Come here. Come here. What?
Yeah.
Hey Joe, speaking of that show, did you ever meet White Witch Guy?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was another one. Yeah.
He came to me near the end of the show, but he knew I didn't do naked drawings.
You were getting a reputation for not being a team player.
Yeah.
So he asked for a white witch, and I said sure. And he said naked. I said no. I said as a matter of fact, we went through this whole thing. And I said as a matter of fact, I'm just going to do a head sketch. I'm not going to do anything more for you. Right?
Wow,
So he's like,
Joe.
Damn.
Jesus. Joe's
Because he
fucking ruthless.
Joe does not play. He doesn't play this
I
game.
wasn't rude, but the guy kept pushing and pushing. That
He's
he
like,
wanted.
I'm not going to play your damn reindeer games.
Yeah. She's going to be an old silhouette.
Yeah.
So I did the sketch, and he never came back. Right? It's like the last day of the show. I'm like, oh, this guy doesn't want the sketch because I didn't draw her naked. And then he finally comes back, and I don't know, I was charging $25 a head sketch or something like that. And he finally comes back, and he hands me the money, and it's crumpled up, and it's wet, right? It's like sweaty from his pocket. I'm like, oh, okay.
Gross. So gross.
And
This is so disgusting.
then I bring out the sketch, and he looks at me and goes, and he's like literally just like, aghast at this thing. And he reaches down and he starts touching it. And he goes,
What? Oh
my God, it's too hot to touch. It's too hot to touch. And I'm just thinking, please just take the sketch.
Please run away.
Take it. And he puts it into a manila envelope, and he's like, I only take these out, every once in a while.
Yep.
I got all my white witch sketches, and I put them out. And I'm like, thank you. I really
I don't need any more information than
Yeah,
that.
he told me he keeps them under his bed and he only brings them out late at night.
I've never had
when the
experience
moon is out, right? When the moon is out.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get into all the detail. He was a nice enough fella, and everybody's got their thing, right? But and they make
clearly.
for great stories. Yeah, they really do.
Yeah, I
He
ran
paid
into
his doggy cash, so
I ran into him after the show one time, and
You guys dated a little bit, didn't you?
yeah, we did.
They have similar things.
He was sitting with a group of Legion of superhero fans, and I was talking to one guy because he had commissioned me earlier, and I was thanking him, and he started raising his hand, and finally I acknowledged him because he had his hand raised, and he goes, "Is it? Is it?" He goes, "Is it true?" And I was like, and everybody's looking at me like, "Oh God, here it comes!" All his friends were giving me that look like, "Oh shit." And I said, is what true? And he goes, is it true the White Witch is pregnant? And I was like, I really don't know, dude. And he's like, I wish he was.
I wish she was.
Oh my God, he was the best.
Now, don't you wish, Dave, that you've created a character that people obsess over that much? That
Oh, I wish.
I mean, that's actually pretty awesome if you think about it.
I miss a lot of those fun fans. I thought they were great.
I miss Joe. Did you ever do the early days of Dragon Con?
I did it once. It was like too crazy. It was the con itself. I barely remember because we went out a a couple of nights and literally never came back. We destroyed ourselves. It was me, Jimmy, Greg Hildebrand Jr., Joe Jusko.
Nice.
And it was like, and the city was partying because it was Pride Week that week in the city. So every club stayed open all night after hours. So it was a mess.
Yeah, we one of my favorites from Dragon Con was this woman named Miss Marble, and she believed that Chris Claremont was her father, and she would stalk him at shows, and it was the best. I mean, holy shit, she was certifiably like had some issues.
Sound like it.
What if Chris was her father?
Well, you never know. I guess I don't know about his
Chris gets
sexual
around.
predilections. Yeah.
I've heard some stories about Chris.
Chris likes to raw dog it, apparently.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Whoa, libel, Jeff.
oh, man.
That's a character.
Opinions of Jeff Johnson do not relate to anybody else on this broadcast. Thank you very much.
It's the DC character that he wrote.
Uh-huh.
Raw dog.
I don't even like your terminology.
If that's an actual character, somebody needs to create that character.
Listen, I'd like to point out that I was just going to the restroom and muted my mic, and while going to the restroom, I'm like, well, he likes to raw dog it. I'm like, it's a interesting time. Yeah, he's like, Baxter, come listen to this.
Daddy, what's raw dog?
Raw dogging.
Oh, it's when you create a character. Oh, never mind.
Honestly, he listens to music. He's into all of it. He's probably teaching me some shit at this point.
Parenting's fun.
It's something for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely a thing.
Is that the consensus, Ben, that it's fun? Is that what you're going to go with?
So I tell myself in the mirror.
Yeah. I'm having
All
fun.
right, I finished a Joker. Did this pop up?
Oh, nice.
Let's see.
Say
Is that
something.
popping up? If I talk, is it
go.
popping up?
Yes.
Yeah.
That looks like
So I'm just
shit.
gonna keep doodling. I'm doing a Miles from Spider-Verse now.
I hated that movie.
Oh yeah. Really?
Everybody.
No, God.
Oh, I was gonna say. I was literally getting ready to just be like, well, I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah, what?
No, that wasn't so. I mean, that's one of those movies where you hear all sorts of good things about it, and then you go, because I always get like, it can't be as good as that, and then I see it.
Right.
And
It was.
it was insanely good.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, that was one where we went a couple times in the theater, and then as soon as it was on iTunes, we got it as well. And like, we can't stop watching it. It's so good.
I like the story. I wasn't super keen on the animation, I gotta admit. But
What?
Yeah. Jesus.
It's kind of run of the mill.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
I've seen
Yeah.
better.
Speaking of the animation, did you guys see the short on Netflix in that Tim Miller series? The is it Love, Sex, and Robots? Or
I
Sex,
did
Love,
see
and
that.
Robots? The
Yeah.
third
Comment.
episode.
Oh, was that Tim Miller?
Tim Miller. That's Tim Miller's show. Yeah, Tim was like executive producer, and I know he did a bunch of them too.
I loved his episode was very cool, and the
Yeah.
Robert Valley one was awesome.
The Robert Valley one was
Which-
great. Which one was Tim
Which
Miller?
one was that?
The Robert Valley one was the about the artist. It's funny because the way Netflix has you watch that show is based on what you like and don't like programming wise. So they'll show different episodes in different orders based on your likes and dislikes. But
Because the one where the girl witnesses the murder.
yeah, that was Tim Miller, right?
That's
I didn't watch it yet. Spoilers, motherfuckers.
No,
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
Oh yeah, it was only on like 6 months ago, Scotty.
I think it's,
You know what?
well, it's done by the guy who did the storyboards. I think for the storyboards for Spider-Verse. It's got the whole feel of it, and
Yeah, it
I forget
does.
the guy's name right now. It's crazy brilliant. It really is.
But what happens?
Well, we're not going to spoil it, Scott. We're just talking.
Scotty's like, why did I agree to this?
Why did I agree to this fucking bullshit shit
Yeah.
show?
Yeah.
That
What do you
Thanos.
think What do you think
She
about the
witnesses the
professional
murder.
level of the show so far? Like, how would you
Right.
rate the? Because you've been on a lot of podcasts and live streams. How would
Yeah.
you rate this one?
You know, I think this is going to be a solid 4 out of 20. I think.
Yeah,
Wow.
Nice.
So,
We have to be
this is
graded.
perfect, man. This
Well,
is
420
literally
is a good number.
420.
Now,
No,
Scotty,
I'm telling you,
Scotty,
this is so much what we do all the time. I love this stuff.
yeah. Listen, I've done a ton of media. This show's a shit show. But Scotty, tell me true or false.
Yeah.
If there was a story about Saran wrap, we'd be a good.
Oh my god. At some point, you guys are going to have to bring this fucking Saran wrap story to fruition, or it's just going to sound. It's going to be the ultimate dad joke that just keeps cycling through.
Yeah.
We'll have to track down the original photographer again.
Yeah,
Oh,
professional photography.
I think
that
that's
was used.
exactly what Dan doesn't want to happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Normally, Jeff is on my side, even if he is upset with me, which is
No,
probably most
I
of the time.
don't. I don't think we should. If Dan doesn't want these photos to reemerge, I think we
I
should
saw
respect
them-
his privacy.
I think I saw them one time, and I was, man, it was painful.
How long have you guys been doing this? Like, what episode is this?
This is episode 120.
Are you shitting me?
No, 13.
Yes, he
It
is.
feels, it feels like it.
I was like, you guys need some hardcore fucking marketing because I've never.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
well,
point of the show.
For a bunch of motherfuckers I grew up worshiping, you guys are really get up in the marketing game a little bit.
I keep sending Dan marketing ideas. He's like, yeah, okay.
we'll
Right.
get to that.
Yeah.
That's
the
a
point.
good microphone.
Dan's yeah. Listen, we're still. I have a long way to go.
That Thanos is amazing, by the way.
Oh, thanks, Scotty.
Yeah, it's really, really, really good.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
It's angry.
It's no
Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Scotty, aren't you going to draw one? Aren't you going to draw a happy Thanos?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a Thanos. I'm gonna finish this Miles, and I'm gonna do a Thanos.
Be naked, right?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe
I
yeah,
feel like
he really is.
I feel like
How
at some point I'm gonna draw a naked Thanos, and then David Bogart's gonna call me tomorrow. I feel like.
How happy? Let's see how happy Thanos really is. Come on.
this is all like
Okay.
a sting operation. You know?
Hey, as long as you don't draw Batman with a penis, you're all right.
No, you
now
can
I
do that
gotta
now.
now I gotta fucking do that.
You can actually do that. It's
You know
part of
what
the
it is?
canon.
People-
Yeah.
I've known Scotty forever, and people think that because he draws these really cutesy characters and just they're just adorable. That's the kind of person he is. No, he's a deviant. He's a complete deviant. and I want the world to finally know the deviant that he is.
People don't know I'm a straight up fucking vagabond, man. I've just been a gypsy out in the world my whole life. So yeah, I don't know. I backed into this baby situation. People always ask me about it. I'm like, you guys don't understand. Like, I accidentally got into this side hustle. It's not.
Wait. You backed into it? I don't think that's how it works.
It
You might have been in the wrong door.
I might have.
It might not be yours.
Oh,
It sounds like you're a backdoor man, not the front door man.
Okay, fellas.
Yeah.
Ooh, now we're getting to some ram rap shit. I like it. The promised Chekhov's gun is now it's working now.
Mm.
I think we can all agree that Dan has made questionable choices with his posing.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
So what is it? How do they convince you to do this stuff, Dan? Is it
It's not a recent thing, Jeff. I was 21 years old, fresh off the boat in New York City. Okay,
Glistening in baby oil.
listening to baby oil. I was begging to
Coke.
be taken advantage of.
Oh,
it's like a Jay-Z lyric.
Scotty, do you know these stories, Scotty?
Wait. Did they write Midnight Cowboy after your story? Dan?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to tell us?
That's another episode that we can talk about later.
Everybody's talking about me. All right.
So, Scotty, I don't know if you know the baby oil, the Coca-Cola and baby oil story.
Well, no, I've never heard of this show, so I haven't heard it. No.
No,
No one has.
yeah.
Damn, we got to market this damn show. Damn, we got to market it.
Don't worry, nobody has.
Yeah.
Oh my
We're on a
God.
I feel like
Slow,
we just
slow.
went over this, Joe. I
Yeah.
absolutely don't know that this exists, so I super don't know your inside joke.
It kills me. I take an hour out of my Thursday night for this, and I keep
Every
thinking, "Damn,
Thursday."
market this."
Every
It's like,
Thursday.
There's a quick Miles listening to some headphones.
Nice.
Oh, right on. Damn, you're fast.
Now we're gonna do Happy Thanos.
Yay.
I'm gonna sell all these an hour after this ends.
yeah.
At least you can make some money.
And
It's,
pay
it's
for
not a
the car
complete,
that my wife went and bought today.
At least somebody's going to make some money on this
yeah, it's not a
broadcast.
complete watch.
At least somebody will have a career after this stream.
Right.
What was that? That was like AP News jumping in there.
This is America.
That was YouTube saying put another quarter in the slot.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't pay my YouTube dues.
Actually, that's my timer, guys. I gotta go. I got a friend
Whoa.
who's on a way
Oh,
over.
what?
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Hey, I was on for a full hour. Give me a fucking break.
oh God.
All right.
Geez.
Is this friend Russian?
No.
Did that friend leave finally?
No, we're gonna go see the Damned down at Long Beach. So
Well, that's
we gotta
important.
get on the road.
That's super
So-
important.
Long Beach.
Yeah, it's
Town
a
they
bit
call
of a
Long
drive.
Beach.
Yeah.
So, but I'm
All
cool
right.
like that.
All right. Well,
Let me see your drawing, Dan. Oh, you
Nope.
switched.
No, I didn't. Here we go.
I'll be right back, guys.
wow,
All right.
that's awesome, Dan.
I wish I could
Thanks.
see it, but Jeff's talking. There we go.
Ah, you talked.
Now I'm talking. Here we go. But I'll post it on YouTube. I'm not YouTube. I'll post it on Twitter and everything later.
You added red, yeah. I thought it was gonna be just yellow.
No, I did yellow and I added some red. So I went
Yeah.
crazy.
Well,
I drank all my mezcal.
I almost finished my Captain America.
Well, that looks
It
nice.
was a good time.
Yeah.
Scotty drew like 6 things. He sells each one of them for $600. So he's made how much?
He's crushing it.
That's math.
That's math.
Yeah, math is hard. Come on.
It's $3,600.
Jesus, that's a lot of money. We could use a portion of Scotty's money on this to improve some of the, theatrics.
Did you tell?
Microphone?
Yeah, microphone
Yes.
for Jeff.
Yes, Ben. Thanks, Ben.
And saran wrap. We can buy some saran wrap.
Oh.
No, I think I used it all back in 1991.
Well, I think one of the things that's Dan that I have a bunch of pictures of Dan.
What?
Oh,
I do. Well, because Dan was very willing to give his time up for people who needed reference. I took lots of pictures of Dan as various superheroes back in the day.
It's true.
And they all seem to be eating hot dogs. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Weird.
It was the hot dog issue.
Yeah. All right, guys. It's been fun. Tell Scotty I said goodbye.
Well,
Dave.
you can tell him yourself.
Yep,
He's right here.
I'm
Oh,
back.
he's back. All right. All
All
right.
Now, my son is awake now, so I'm gonna wait for his tyrant to come down. But thanks for hanging out with me for a little while, Dave. It was awesome.
All right, brother. I will see you guys next week.
All
Way
right,
to
bye,
schedule
Dave.
the movie, Dave, right when we're doing our once a week broadcast. But have
Enjoy
fun.
the film.
don't forget your saran wrap.
It's a band, not a film.
Oh,
and,
okay. All right.
It is what it is. So, all right, guys. I'll see you.
Have fun.
All right. Bye.
Peace out, as the young folks would say.
In the
Well, he
80s.
really doesn't want to be a part of his own. He doesn't want to be a part of his own broadcast. It's
Yeah, no, he's got a date, and it's ridiculous.
Dan is actually quite a player.
He's a player.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Big player, big baller, big pimp.
You gotta respect that. You gotta
Yeah,
respect his moves.
you have to. You have to.
You gotta.
It is reaching the 1 hour mark. Dave wasn't kidding. So
All right.
yeah.
Is that what you guys usually do? Is that your jam? An hour?
we do
I
an
don't know,
hour,
yeah.
but sometimes
Oh,
we
hey,
run
Dan,
over.
Dan.
We don't
You
have
gotta-
to.
you gotta- I just got a message. We got a special guest that wants to come on.
Who?
It's Brian Bendis wants to come on.
Right now? Well,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
usually do
Are
an
you for
hour.
real?
Though. We do
I
an
told him we don't
hour.
have time. Yeah, we don't have time.
I
right
could
now.
send him. I could send him the.
Send him a link. I'll stick on for Ryan Bendis.
I know, but
I
Dave's
told
not.
him it's too late. I told
Dave's
him
Is
it's
it
not
too
here.
Ryan
I'm not
Bendis?
gonna-
Wait, did you say Ryan Bendis?
Yeah, his
Right,
cousin.
right.
His cousin Ryan
Yeah.
Bendis.
It's not.
Ryan Bendis.
It's like 2 minutes to 9. I'm sorry. I know he's Brian Bendis, but 2 minutes to 9.
Well, no, I mean it'd be
True.
cool. It'd be cool if Dave was still here. Then I'd send him the link, no problem. But
It's still. I told him no. It's rude. It's rude.
Oh,
it
all
is
right.
rude.
Go ahead of time. It's Scotty's
All right.
time.
It's Scotty's time.
Upstage Scotty. So
You don't
no,
want-
Yeah.
I get
Get
it.
your
Ryan
shit
Bendis.
together, Ryan. Ryan Bendis.
Brian Rendis.
You hear that? See that, Scotty?
Ryan-
Like Scotty, this show is such a he's tuning in, watching. He goes, I want to be a part of this.
I know. That's what happened.
No, but you know what? The Brian Bendis that I know who was at Marvel, he would have
Uh-huh.
contacted us a day before. Not. This is the new DC Brian.
It's not professional.
It's a whole thing. It's a whole
It's
thing. No,
very
he's
unprofessional.
changed.
Me and Brian share a little secret bonds together that only if he is watching this, he's gonna laugh his ass off right at this moment
Okay.
when I look at the camera. Where's the camera? Laugh now, Brian Ryan. Okay, that's it. That's
was
it. That's
Wow.
it. You guys are not in on this secret, so fuck off. Don't even ask.
That
It's a
was
lot of
powerful.
fun.
Wow.
I'll admit that was overwhelming.
Yeah.
So
That was
that was intense.
What is this? What is this shirt you're wearing, real quick, Scotty?
It is Third Eye Comics
Mhm.
from Annapolis, Maryland. Honestly, I'm going to tell you, as I just went there and did a signing this past weekend. I've been there a couple times before and done signings, but they just moved to a new location. I don't know that I've been in a comic book shop like this before. It's
wow.
Super small.
Yeah, it's really small. They don't take care of it. The carpet's mildewy. No, it really is. When you walk into it, you feel like you're walking into like just a comic book mega store. It's so beautifully designed and well taken care of, and they've got a section for everything. And the thing that I love about Steve and Trish, who own the shop, because I've been there to do enough signings where I'm there early enough, they have a huge staff that works the whole store. And just like you would at any retail job, before the day starts, they literally gather the staff in the morning and give them like all right, here's what we're going to do. And you guys are over here and you're over here. And then when somebody says this, if they're like this, and you will literally hear them be like, oh, are you reading that? Tell you what, come with me. And they guide you across the store and they're like, you're going to love this. And they've got PowerPoint displays of like all the various.
You know what? That sounds like almost every comic book store I've been in.
Sure. Yeah. No, sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, I believe you. I do believe you.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
It really is amazing. And it really, I was, the first thing I thought was like, will you please fly to Kansas City and then I will just walk you around and we'll make sure you open up here. It's that kind of shop where if Steve and his whole squad could just kind of go around and franchise, it's really amazing. And it going there kind of reinvigorates me for the whole, like I just come home like, yeah, let's make some books.
Wow. That's like a great store. Like if someone's new to comic books and you want to go, this is what comic books are about. And
it really is.
Welcoming.
And the testament to it is the fact that it's in Annapolis, Maryland. Like who would think like one of the best shops is in Annapolis, Maryland?
Yeah.
What's in Annapolis? I don't know, but I'm telling you.
Isn't that where the Army, the naval prison is at?
Okay, Jeff, why would you know that? And number two, this is the first time you started talking. Like I kept thinking you were talking, but it was your pen scratching. We switched the camera over to you.
Oh, but don't you love that part, Dan?
No, I don't. That's no, I don't love that part.
You guys we can't end this show before I draw Happy Thanos.
Yeah, let's see Happy
of course.
Thanos.
Let's see Happy Thanos.
I'm drawing it now.
Yeah,
Jeff's
have a little fucking patience, Jeff. Fuck, man.
Yeah, I'm a dick.
I just started. Fuck.
Meanwhile, Jeff couldn't be bothered to like look you up. Didn't you work on Wizard of Oz?
Yeah. Didn't you work on Wizard of Oz last month, 8 years ago?
Listen, for me, everything. I'm so old now. Everything happened just yesterday. No,
Jeff, do you know that I'm a human being alive on planet Earth that's on your show right now?
Oh, I'm starting to understand, but I'm slow.
Jeff is like the anti-Smurf Papa Smurf over there with his black cap.
Yeah.
He's Dark Papa.
Yeah, Dark Papa.
Dark Papa. I love it when you call me Dark Papa.
Sorry, Jeff.
It's fair.
Jeff, can you tell us like what was that thing? Well, Sky's drawing like we gave you a nickname on Drink and Draw a long time ago, Angel Warrior. Yeah. And didn't it just pop up in some kind of context?
I could have sworn that you put it on my Wikipedia page.
No, I don't have access to your Wikipedia, Jeff.
Everyone has access to Wikipedia. That's the point. Yeah.
Jeff, you still haven't told me the name of your YouTube tribute band.
My YouTube tribute band.
YouTube.
Scotty, the Edge.
The Edge, Scotty.
Yeah. Do I like the Edge?
No, well, doesn't Jeff look like the Edge?
Listen.
Yeah.
I play a mean harmonica, and and I definitely going to have to do some covers, perhaps some Led Zeppelin covers.
You could do a Wizard of the Oz cover.
Yeah.
Well, if it was called Wizard of the Oz.
I was hoping as soon as I said that, I was hoping we'd breeze right over that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, between the two of you, I feel like I've had a great career. I appreciate you guys paying attention.
You know what? This will make you happy. My sister went to school and she was best friends with the niece of the bomb. What's his name? Who's the guy? Baum.
You mean Frank Baum, the guy who
Frank
wrote
Baum.
Wizard
I
of
didn't want
Oz?
to say. I didn't want to just
The
say
Baum
throw Frank
guy.
out there.
Yeah.
Frank L. Baum or
This is
Frank
good.
The
Hey,
Baum.
can I just recreate
Look,
this? Real
first
quick?
of all, Scotty, I'm a man. I'm not written.
No.
reading
Dan,
about Dorothy
be
all
quiet
day.
for a second, Dan.
Okay.
I'm going to take over your show for a second. Let
Yeah.
me just repeat what you
Please.
just said. This is going to make you very happy. My sister went to the school with the bomb guy.
Well, did it make you happy or not?
His sister went to
Fair
school with
question.
Ted Kaczynski.
Listen, this is gonna make you very happy.
This
One
will change
time
your
in 7th grade, my sister played dominoes. Are
Yeah.
you cool? Do you like dominoes?
Yeah, do you like that?
I mean,
You like-
did it make you happy or not?
Yeah. Listen.
I mean, it's
How do
fair.
you feel about
Me
check?
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Scotty, by the way, he's got you laughing. He
Yeah.
was right.
He was right.
He did. Yeah, he did make me happy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's just a little bit of trivia. You could probably like entertain some dinner guests with that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that Dan has the best hair in comics, and
Yes.
also his sister played Tiddlywinks once?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll just kind of be quiet now with my nostalgia here. I'm kind of like Drunk Dave from last episode.
Not quite, but
Well,
close.
no, but I
PG-13
mixed like my cough medicine.
So, does Dave often just exit the scenario like for
Yeah.
all kidding aside, he's like the worst part of drink and draw.
Dave
will-
goes where he wants when he
Yeah.
wants.
He's the least dedicated.
He
It's
pulled
not even
that
my
one.
show, and I'm here more than Dave.
Yeah, actually, Joe has been here more.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm literally crying right now.
All right, I'm almost done with Happy Thanos. Hold on.
Hey, Dan, what's up with
Jeez.
the hat, man? Why does he wear a hat?
Well, I'm sponsored by Harley Davidson.
Yeah, you see. You don't have a good hat head.
You know, I always want to have like a cowboy hat, but
You might have a cowboy hat head. You don't have a
no, I
good-
tried that. You remember that was kind of in like in the 90s and dudes were wearing straw cowboy hats?
Yeah,
I
that
tried
was
that.
a huge.
No, it's like you'd
I mean, it
see
was
like a
from
guy.
all the range.
No, but
Everybody-
Jeff, bear with me. You'd see like an urban like setting or like New York or like Los Angeles where there's no legitimate cowboys. And then
Right.
one dude would walk in with like a straw cowboy hat. I was like,
You.
I could be that guy. I
You
can
were
be
that
that
guy.
guy.
Cowboy on Times
Because I
Square.
don't remember anybody walking in like that
Oh, well,
in New York.
maybe we
Yeah,
went to
I don't
different
know what clubs
places.
you were going to.
I mean, I was going to cowboy bars. But no, I tried it for like a second. I don't think I ever made it outside in public. It was terrible.
Yeah.
So this is the best I got.
I had
You
a
look good.
fedora
You do
today.
have glorious hair, though, Dan. You should definitely show that. You should wave it around in the wind.
I should yeah.
When I was 19, I wore a fedora. I had my mullet, my fedora.
Wow.
It's a thing.
A mullet and a fedora.
Mullet and fedora. Yeah. It's amazing.
Sounds like oil.
You think about the fedora and it's like total hat head and then mullet.
Crazy ass mullet.
Like a bushy mullet, you know.
Does Nelson ever wear any crazy hats? Because I can see him being a crazy hat guy.
The Castro?
Yeah.
Yeah, every once in a while he shows up in a Viking helmet and stuff like that, you know.
A Viking helmet. Is that what you just said?
Nelson
Yeah,
is
Viking helmet.
well, hold on.
Oh,
There's Happy Thanos.
Oh, that's nice.
He's so happy that he killed everybody.
Wishes do come true.
I love that expression. I love that expression on him too.
Beautiful.
He couldn't be happier.
He's so happy.
He's very giddy.
All right, who do I have to sleep with to get off this broadcast?
Ryan Bendis, I think, is the man.
Ryan Bendis.
Right.
Ryan Rendis. Ryan Rendis.
Are we wrapping it up? Is that the end?
I don't know.
Ben, any final words of wisdom or things you've learned about yourself?
tonight's episode was brought to you by our sponsor, Saran Wrap,
Oh,
Harley
Or-
Davidson.
Do we have no questions again? Not a single question?
well, nobody's tuned in.
We had a few questions, but it's hard to get them in.
Scotty doesn't think this is a waste of his time.
Wait, I didn't hear Ben. Ben, what happened?
We had a few questions, but they were, it's hard to get them in with you guys. You talk too much.
It's true.
That's not fair for the,
Somebody wanted to know what kind of ink Dan was using. I remember that.
Dan.
All right. I could do a shout out. This is called Eon Vortex ink. So I think you can do a little, and they sent it to me to check it out, and I actually really loved it. It works great for like doing gray washes, and if you have your shoe polish, it works good for that. If you have black shoes, it's perfect. So I highly recommend it.
All right, so that's Eon Vortex.
Nice.
Yeah, there's another sponsor for the show.
Beautiful.
And then we had a question for Skottie.
Yeah.
When you write as an artist, do you write? The question was basically worded: do you write with pictures in your mind, or do you write with words in your mind?
I tried at first to kind of thumbnail write, but I found myself overdrawing, where I would be like, he touches the glass, he picks the glass up, I was like animating it because I was thinking too visually. So to kind of teach myself the spatial context of a 20-page comic, I started writing full scripts. So I would do page 1, panel 2, panel 3, even for myself. Even when I'm drawing it myself, I write a full script. But also most of my comics, outside of like Middle West, have been comedy books as well, which involve a lot of timing.
Jeff, write that down. Middle West.
Thanks, Dan. I remember that one.
It's one of the Lands of Oz, I believe.
Yeah.
So outside of that, I still write full scripts for myself just to make sure that I get the timing of everything down.
So there you go, folks. That was a serious question and answer on Drink and Draw. It only took us 13 episodes.
Right.
Actually, Skottie, that is probably the most.
That might be the first
concise
one.
and informative
I'm so
answer we've ever had.
professional. I'm so professional.
Yeah.
I think we're starting to get the hang of this.
Yeah. Almost.
Check back in with
Well,
us
guys,
in
have me back
100
anytime,
Tune in next week.
when you waste an hour of your life to get to one question.
It's not a waste,
Maybe
it's
we'll
a journey.
How much of that wine did you get through, Scotty?
Oh, no, I just cracked it open for this cast, so I've still got a long night ahead of me.
Excellent.
All right. Well, let's do the last call. Joe, you can be reached at joecasada.com, .org, and .net. Right?
What? No, just check us out at Twitter and I don't know, whatever.
Hard to remember, but you can play that back. That's the beauty of YouTube. You can go backwards and write it down.
Yeah, you go back.
Don't tell people that.
No.
Well, people will be watching this for millennia.
Yeah, this will never be erased. It'll go off in like the next
Trust me.
space launch to the moon, and they'll
to the end of time, man. Generations of struggling artists will be watching this, thinking to themselves,
deciphering it, going somewhere. There's a code within this.
Anybody could have made it back in 2020.
Yeah.
I'll break into comics using this broadcast.
Yeah, there's all the secrets.
Yeah,
the things we teach. We give.
All right.
We're all about giving, Dan.
All right, Joe.
Good.
I just have to say that that mic is pretty fantastic. I'm very jealous.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It's
awesome.
great.
He got microphone shamed.
Yeah. I've been shamed a lot on this show.
It'd be great if like every following broadcast, I just get a bigger and bigger and bigger mic.
Bigger, better mic.
It takes up the whole frame.
Yeah.
It's just you can't see my face, just one giant mic.
Jeff also got mic-splained.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've learned a lot this time. I've learned about Skottie's career and how much is awesome.
Mhm.
And I've learned a lot about Dan's past.
No, we didn't learn anything about Dan's past.
And then Joe is always crushing it.
Joe is crushing it.
Yep.
Dave has always got something more important to do. He's
Right.
Dave's very popular.
gotta run, guys. Have fun.
Yeah.
Gotta
Your
run.
stupid drink and draw thing that
Got a lady to see.
Terrible.
Terrible.
All
Well,
right,
Ben,
Greg.
try to stay safe. Hopefully, no more tornadoes for you and your house stays intact.
Yep. Stay in the basement.
Smart.
Scotty, you're
Smart.
awesome, man.
Thank
Thanks,
you guys
Scotty.
for having me, man. This is really fun. This is fun.
Thanks, Skottie, for showing up.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Signing
All
off.
Guys,
Hey,
I'll be back
Everybody-
anytime. Later, guys.
see you guys next time.
Later.